efficient mower. I also work as Briggs fan on justanswer.com. So the last video that we left off on, I was getting ready to try to remount this carburetor. The problem with trying to mount it and set up a tripod for you guys is that I've only got two hands and it's kind of a pain getting the carb back on here and the nut threaded. The bolts, you can see them, they sit back there. You got your fuel lines and everything here, but it's going to want to push out. So what I'm going to do, much to what everybody has complained about in the past, is I'm going to have to use the head cam, unfortunately. I don't have anybody else here to shoot for me, and it's very tight space, so I'm going to try to get as much as I can for you guys to be able to see it, and hopefully that'll be enough to help with remounting. But basically it's the same thing as when we took it off. So let's get started while we have daylight. It's Sunday after Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and everything went well for everybody. We're trying to wrap this up for a customer. I've had this way too long. In fact, I'm trying to slow down on residential repairs for that reason, and just do more YouTube shoots. It's just kind of hard to get everything back to people when when you're working full-time elsewhere and everything else. So basically your linkage is going to go here. It was the second hole here, and it's going to go in between these two right here. It's in between the big hole and the little hole. So you want to hook those two up like that, push it like that, and now it's pretty much getting ready to go on. You got your gasket there, so you'll thread this in like that. I hope you guys can see, but all the linkage, how the linkage is hooked up. And then you're gonna have to put your fingers on the back of the bolts here like I'm doing. I'm putting my fingers on the back of the bolts, move that fuel line out of the way, and then push this on and like this. Now here's the trick. The trick is going to be tightening up a nut on here. I'm going to grab one real quick. So you have this little nut right here, and we got to kind of try to tighten them on to get them to thread. That's the biggest trick. And being that this is not in my actual shop, if I drop these, they're going to go down in the leaves, which totally sucks finding them, all that jazz. So you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. I'm trying to, hopefully my angle's good on the head cam. But there you go. You want to hold it like that. See how easy that is with two hands? Last time I was trying to hold the cam for you guys and it just turned into a real disaster. So I figured I would wait till good daylight, go ahead, put all this back together with, good camera view and everything. So this one here is going to push it here. You have to put your hand on the bolt here and then try to spin it. Once you get them going, it's not too bad. It's just getting them going. So there we go. Out of the way. Okay. So we're kind of tightening up here a little bit. Okay. Just a little bit of a pain trying to get these back on and threaded up. And sometimes you might have to slip a wrench on the back to get it going. Other times it'll tighten up on its own. And once you start snugging them though, the bolts will stop moving most of the time. This one looks like it's going to be a problem. Let's go ahead and I'm going to try to hold this in my hand and slip I'm going to use 11 mil on it. So let's move this box out of the way. You have to move the hole. You have to be careful because of the wiring too with this box. That's another. You got your whole ground wire and everything there. So just slide that down right here. Get that out of the way. Now we have better access. The fuel line's still going to be in the way some, so it's just, that's going to be kind of hard to deal with. I mean, to avoid. You just almost have to deal with it. So hold the bolt there and just kind of turn. See if we can bend this down. Sometimes you could take these and turn them. Other times you can't. I don't want to break it off. But sometimes if they're sitting so long, they're a little hard to turn. There we go. Get that out of the way some. Then we can get a wrench on here a little bit better. go. Alright, we're also going to need a 3/8, it looks like, to put on the back of this one. It's just really going to keep giving me a fit. See, either this 10 mil or 3/8, one or the other, just to fit back here on him. There we go. Once you get it semi-snug, the bolt will stop moving and you can just tighten the rest from tightening off the nut on the front usually. Let's go ahead and slip this one back here. Kind of try to snug this one up a little bit too. Should be getting good angle. This one's tightened up a lot easier. But once we get these on, it's like the biggest pain on reinstalling these things is getting these jokers on and tightened up. There we go. So that one, this one here is pretty good now. We got to get this other one still. Then we can hook up the rest of it. All the stuff that doesn't want to be hooked up. There we go. So that's on. Now we can just go ahead and do this number here. You just gotta put a wrench back on this block and kind of turn it that way so we can get the fuel line hooked back up. There we go. so this here is your fuel line. You just got to be careful putting that back on, as far as you don't want to take a pair of like pliers with real aggressive teeth and end up putting a hole in the fuel line. A lot of times these fuel lines get weathered from sitting and stuff, because I mean you don't use a snowblower that often, so that is just got to kind of take care of it as you're putting it on. There we go. Nice and easy, just like that. Alright, so the fuel line's back on. Moving along now. And you're going to pull that. There we go. So, okay. Now, what we're going to do is, we'll end up taking your other line. This is for your primer. When you push that, that's what's going to push gas up in. And you're going to want to hook it right back up to here. See that little nipple? Goes on there. You got to put that there. Okay. So that'll hook up there. You've got all your lines hooked back up. It's bolted back up there and there. Your linkage is on, which will pull this. See how this is moving? That's perfectly fine. Everything's good. Now we get to hook back up the you know, the shroud and stuff, and then we'll add some oil and gasoline and give it a try while we're recording this. So right now I'm gonna just make sure, go over, since it's been a week or two since I did this, maybe 2 weeks or so. So I like to always go back over and make sure I got everything right. Alright, that's good and tight. Just wanted to make sure that was good and tight. There's no oil in the machine right now. You never want to put your oil in until you pull the carb and fix the issue with the carburetor first. Because if you put your new oil in and then you go to do the carb, you're going to end up contaminating the gas again. So now that all that's done, let's go ahead and start getting it back together, so she can get running. So the first thing you're going to do is this. You got to line up your choke holes, got to line up through here right to there. So you put that there, okay, and then a little bit of a pain, I know. So there you go, that goes there like that. So then this hole will line up, and then this slides under right here. And you got your 2 screw holes here that I got to go in. So push this over like that and put that in. It's not a lot to it, really. But okay. So we'll go ahead and we will start with these guys here. These are your 2 little Phillips here. Put this one here. Just start hand threading it in. You don't want to tighten it all the way up, because of the fact that when you do, you won't be able to shift or move to line up your other holes. So always just get your lines, you know, your holes lined up, and then just tighten it a little bit. Okay. Then this guy here is your guard. So we have to find the hole in that. Looks like that might be it right there. So, okay, you got that one there. And you also have, I want to say that's it. We'll tighten these 2 down and tighten those up, and that should be it. This is your muffler shield here. So this screws in right here like this. And we'll get the 5/16 going, so we can tighten that up. Let's see, 5/16 is what I'm betting. It is. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my 5/16 on, and then we'll do that. Okay, that's on. Alright, we're going to tighten this one up now. Okay, what's off here? Because it's not wanting to tighten up. So let me see what's going on. See if we can figure out why this thing isn't wanting to tighten up. Unless it goes out and over, which I doubt, but it might. Let's go ahead and loosen these up. Maybe it does. The way it's looking. Yep, that's what I think happened. So let's loosen this up. There you go. Yep. So let's take one of these out. I screwed up. Let's take this out. And we'll reline it back up and put it all back together. Yep, that's what it is. It's got to go under this, that's all. There we go. Now, put this back on here, slide it there, line your two little holes up, and then this will come down through here. Perfect. Okay. So, here you go. Put these here. So the adjustment I had to make was that metal shield goes on the outside. That's all. Still slides under there. You have these here. And we'll tighten all this up, add oil, add gas, and give her a try. There we go. Put this in here. There we go. So we'll tighten this up right here first. There we go. Push this in right here. Tighten this up. And grab our Phillips heads. And we have two Phillips here to take care of. This one. And this one. Okay, so last but not least, you have two things left to put on here. You got your choke lever, and you have your key. Your key is what keeps the contact for it to run. The minute you pull that key out, the two metal pieces ground, it'll shut the motor off. A lot of times people end up having problems with those. So there you go. No, that's right as well. So there we go. Put that back on as well. But that key is what keeps it running. If you ever buy a used snowblower and it doesn't have the key here, you won't be able to get it to run because basically it'll ground itself out without this. Technically, a lot of people take a bungee clip, hook this to themselves, and they clip it to this, like one of those little squiggly bungee clip things, and then hook it to their snowsuit in case they fall down. If they fall down, it pulls it out. And when it pulls it out, it shuts the snowblower off. But, you know, to each his own. It's just a safety feature. So now we're gonna add some new oil down in here. Let me get my little. Let's clean that up some. It's pretty nasty. There we go. Let me clean that up, and then we'll add some new 30 weight oil, add some gas, and give her a test run. Okay. So that's good. We're going to put this here like this. Okay, so we're going to add some oil. There we go. Alright, I'm going to see where it's at, because usually these smaller motors take about 3/4 of a quart to a little over a half a quart. So let's see where we're at. Okay, good and clean, no more gas smell. Let's put this in. Trying to get this little stick to thread in. Alright, tighten her up. And open her up. And what do we got? We're right about on full. Yep. Okay, we're good. Great gas. So now we'll add some gas. Then we'll prime her and see if she'll run. Okay. Let's get our gas can here. I'm gonna hold this on my mouth because this gas can likes to make a mess. Like that. There we go. Alright. So let's prime her up. You'll hear it hiss in there as it's working gas through. And next you want to go ahead and turn this up here. Make sure that's on choke. There we go. Beautiful. As bad as that carburetor was, I didn't think we'd be able to bring it back. Man, there's something about them Tecumseh engines. I don't care what anybody says about these new snowblowers. If you got a Tecumseh on an older snowblower, you got a gem. Because as much as I love Briggs, the new Briggs and the new snowblower motors, they suck compared to these old Tecumseh Snow Kings. This is a 5-horse here. I've got an old 1989 8-horse in the back. I'll shoot another video on another day. But my brother-in-law and I were just working on this thing here, which is an old Toro Snowhound we were trying to get together for him with an old Briggs. and the thing's got no compression. I mean, these old Tecumsehs, they'll sit and you could just bring them back to life. It's such a shame that Tecumseh went out of business for that reason. I mean, probably the best engines that I have seen on snowblowers in my 20-something years of working on them. Anyhow, that's how you rebuild the 5 horsepower Tecumseh carburetor. Same thing with the 8, but this one showed the linkage for the 5 and everything. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, has a great Christmas and holidays. I'm not sure how much we'll shoot for the rest of the year. It's getting cold here in Maryland. But thanks again for tuning in. You guys have happy holidays. This is John. I'll see you soon.